Hello and warm welcome to all my viewers, my listeners of Breaking Barriers. And this episode is going to be very, very special because I've spoken to this wonderful lady, coach of the under 19 T20 World Cup winning team. I think, when she won it, she and her team won it in 2023 and made history. And this is another opportunity for me to have a chit chat with her. Please welcome Noshin Al Kader. Hello and welcome to my show, Breaking Barriers. First of all, huge congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you so much.
So, I would like to have your first reaction because, like you said somewhere, that you're still not getting that feel of, the second consecutive win of your team and you being the head coach. So, how does it feel now?
I guess the feeling is the same. Obviously, deep down inside, there are a lot of emotions. And I thoroughly enjoyed, the way these young cricketers, budding cricketers have performed at the highest level. And just to retain the trophy again was a bigger task than the inaugural one. And they've done it in quite a bit of style.
Hmm. So 2023 and 2025, what difference do you feel that in both these titles?
I thought that over a period of time, the only difference between, I won't say there was much difference, but the only difference is I thought that the character in these girls, mental resilience, I would say, is these girls are more tougher. Obviously, the first stage of the tournament, there were a lot of challenges in terms of the weather, and the way these girls have come out adapting to it quickly has been really commendable because most of our matches were played in the afternoons and there were rains in the afternoons, and the first game was quite special when we played against West Indies, where we won it in 4.2 overs, and probably if that game would have prolonged, the game would have been with no result. So getting those 2 points under your belt was special, and definitely I think I wouldn't want to take away any of the games, but then again in the semi-finals, the way, the girls have come back after the 10 overs has been quite special. So we had our moments. The players had their moments to live, and they have done it commendably well.
Definitely. I think, defended the title so well, and a 9-wicket victory against the South Africa. Wonderful. And that was a jubilant moment for, cricket lovers back home. And I would say I've never expected that, I would be speaking to you again on my podcast, Breaking Barriers, after 2023 win. And, the same, the win, the Jazba, like I said, and the Halla Bowl kind of a performance by your girls. And yeah, obviously you being there, and what was the mental state of the girls? Because this is a team game. We all know in individual game it's like it's between the coach and the athlete, and in a team game, in a team event, it's always too many people involved, too many. It's a crowded place, and then you have the head coach, mentoring the girls. What were the mental health of these girls? Because the mental health of these girls were really, really important, like you said earlier, and to be mentally tough and to be dominantly playing in the entire tournament is something very different. So what was the mental health of these girls?
So it's a build over a period of 6-7 months, I would say. And I'm blessed that I had a beautiful support staff, in terms of the batting coach, the bowling coach, the fielding coach I had, and the SSM group, which has the trainer and the physio, who have been monitoring these kids over a period of time. And, the entire support system was engaged in kind of working overall. And that started off as back in April, in the month of April. It's about just, like we said, I mentioned it earlier also, when you start getting to know your bunch of people who are going to be around, more or less, it's very easy to offload them from pressure and start working on the preparation part. And when I mention preparation, it's about their roles and what they are going to get on the table when they are being involved in the 11 is very, very important. And I thought that the entire support system has ticked most of those boxes, because there was so much of clarity in terms of, when we are on the field, the players knew exactly what they need to do. They knew their roles well. Every bit of it was taken care. So it's a collective, victory, I would say. That we pushed the players around. The preparation was great, and they were able to adapt it the way we wanted, and you could see that result. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier in my question, it's a crowded place. There are girls from different parts of India, into a team, and then you taking them forward is a huge responsibility. And like you rightly mentioned, about your support staff. If I may say a standout performance of these girls, who would you think have done it exceptionally well? Someone who, I said earlier, you are not expecting that particular athlete to perform so well during the tournament.
I think, it'll be very, I've used that word biased to say that, there was only one or two exceptional performances. When you put a team into a bat first and then you get them all out for 80, it has to be a collective performance completely by the bowlers. Or, you're chasing a score of 50 merely in 5 overs, then it has to be a partnership. But I thought that G. Trisha was a standout in terms of the way she took the responsibility, at least in the batting role, where she was a part of the last edition of the World Cup. And as a senior player, she stepped into the shoes of probably a Shefali, what Shefali did for us, and taking up the responsibility of the batting. And then to see Trisha change the gears completely from gear 1 to she probably jumped on to 5, being very explosive at the top order, has given us that cushioning. Credit to the bowlers as well, each one of them coming out there, getting us those early breakthroughs in the power play, and then, maintaining that pressure in the middle overs, because, the field spreads out. And then it gives a bit of relaxation to the batters. But I think the bowlers went on and on, gunning for those wickets, which have been collective. And not to forget how this team has acted on the field, especially in terms of their fielding. Batting, it was unfortunate that, the middle order, I wouldn't say it, we were fortunate, I would say, that, the middle order was not exposed, see their caliber of the game. But those guys really did well on the field. We had these moments where on the hotspots, there were fielders who were saving those boundaries, taking those crucial catches. So everything went on our way. There was absolute involvement, and the entire team, I think, once they stepped onto the ground, they were charged up. They wanted to ensure that their names were there on the scorecard, whether it is batting, bowling or fielding, and you could see that.
Yeah, that was obviously seen. Nowadays, these days, we are talking a lot about the dressing room. And if I may ask you on a lighter note, what was the mood in the dressing room? How would you define that?
Oh, I must share this with you. It was a tough crowd to stop. They are unstoppable. Their sync is such to a certain level where, off the field when they were dancing, all the 15 knew what exactly the steps were on every song.
Okay. Okay, so is it that they rehearsed it very well in the dressing room?
Absolutely no. Absolutely no. I'm telling you, they used to sing together, and they used to sing like as though they are, Asha Bhosle or Lata Mangeshkar or Kishore Kumar, and their sync was great. When they danced together, the steps were together, all the time together. I could just relate that, why they were so enthusiastic on the ground, and everything went on well, because it was what was off the field was on the field.
Right. You mean to say the dressing room was cool, calm and composed, and it was charged up, full of energy, positivity, and that's what showed up in the field, in the cricket pitch.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, again, I would mention that, we ensured as a support staff that the pressure was off their shoulders, and when they went in, the messaging was very clear that go and enjoy. And I still remember one of the coaches mentioning that, be bold enough to commit mistakes, because only these mistakes will get you better. So don't panic when you're committing a mistake, let the mistakes happen. That was the messaging where it has calmed down, and they had that leverage, they had that thing to go inside, and they knew that no matter what, they would be backed.
There was a hammering on their heads, right? That, you have to go and perform. Like you said, one of the coaches said, be bold enough to make your mistakes. You know,
Yes.
that was, if that was a message sent out to the girls, I think these are very young girls and they could handle the pressure very well. In fact, they put on a lot of pressure on the opponents.
Absolutely. I
That should
thought,
have, do you see, these are the terms that the new generation are using, Gen Z, right? So
absolutely.
yeah, so these are the kind of terminologies we have to use for these young girls now. So do you think, there have been a lot of change in the scenario of women's cricket in our country now with the pay parity and, the BCCI announcing a cash reward of 5 crores for the entire team. So what kind of a message is this going to send out to the entire, cricket loving women across, young women across India?
See, for us, it was a win-win for the fact that, the ICC president currently, Mr. Jai Shah, who was
Hmm.
our earlier secretary, was
Right.
around there. And VVS Lakshman sir was there for good 10 days to watch us play. And, the support from BCCI has been commendable. Just come and watch these little ones play around there. Itself is a big boost. And the exposure what they're getting out of WPL or watching the senior cricketers or watching the male cricketers has the exposure is immense. And for a 16-year-old girl like Kamalini to go for a 1.6 crores in a WPL taken by Mumbai Indians itself shows that how much of investment can go into these young generation and what they can get on the table, because the kind of talent these young girls have, everybody's, and honestly I think it's the exposure what has given them such open-minded players they are, that they're ready to adapt immediately. They understand, probably they would have watched so many games which has helped them to understand, okay, if this such a situation has arisen, how am I going to react to it, or what has to be done? And completely credit goes to BCCI for that.
Right. And when you say the word adapt, how do you think these girls adapted so well to the different conditions that was there with the different teams? And like I said earlier, and a lot of media reports have already written about it, that the Team India was really dominant from the first match. So how do you think these girls adapted so well and so soon?
So it's very simple for us that you keep repeating things what you're good at, and we ensured that every player was quite aware of their roles. It's basically role clarity is what I'm talking about, and when you keep pushing them in those role clarities, they know when they are going to falter and what needs to be done, and that has happened over a period of 8 months. So that's how a player is, comfortable enough in that zone, because each one of them knew exactly what they need to do when they were got in or when they are going to be put under pressure. And time and again, with these camps around which we had, we had a COE camp before we left for the World Cup. We were lucky enough to have the Asia Cup again at the same venue. So the girls were quite aware of the conditions out there. Right before the Asia Cup, we had a probables camp. And then after the probables camp, before the Asia Cup, we had the tri-series against the South Africans. So the exposure was great. They knew exactly. And when you keep putting them under this, under this grind, they exactly know, because they would have faced 100 situations and they knew how to come out of it. So probably that has actually helped them out. And credit honestly goes, when you're pushing for so many camps and you have a venture to take around for a period of 8 months, it is very, very helpful for these players to come out, because they are going through that grind every day. And to organize these camps around, it has to be BCCI who's taken the initiative of pushing these girls out there.
Right. Talking about BCCI also, BCCI has been, we've seen it, very supportive with the girls cricketers. And, the focus obviously is, we see a lot of girls coming in from humble background, very, very humble background, from rural areas, from areas where, in their family, I think nobody is a cricketer, but they want to be a cricketer. They want to be a good batter. They want to be an all-rounder. So what kind of message is this going to send out to the girls in the rural areas who are dreaming to be another Shefali Verma or a Mithali Raj, with this second consecutive win?
See, the impact has already been laid. It has happened much, much earlier. I think after the first edition, you could see a lot of
Yes,
young
2023,
girls.
right.
Yeah. At a very young age, I've seen young cricketers. I honestly, yesterday at the airport, I just bumped into a girl who's merely about 7 years old, who is a left-hand batter. And apparently she has watched all the games of the under 19. So this is the impact.
Right.
And it just shows, and imagine a 7-year-old girl watching these girls. By the time she reaches the age of 12, she would have seen so many games and faced a lot of challenges herself during practice sessions, which will make her really good. So this is what an impact has laid. The women's cricket is actually going to grow very strong. And that's only going to happen when when these girls get a lot of exposure in WPL, and if we keep winning these ICC trophies, that's the impact which is going to be, because everybody wants to be rewarded, and the reward is the trophy. So it's great. The first edition was great. This is even more special. It's going to push around women's cricket to make them believe that can they be a part in the next edition to dominate the colors again, and to ensure that India is doing well.
In every sport, we've seen it in 1983 when Kapil Dev and his team won the World Cup. I think in every sport, in every discipline, we need a hero. And I think these girls are heroes, and they are making a different benchmark for, the coming generations of young girls into the world of cricket. I think this is obviously a great, great message being sent out to girls across the globe. I won't say only in India, but across the globe. Where do you think, the girls need to concentrate more now after the second consecutive win now? Because obviously the focus will be on the women cricketers now. Like you said, it's growing from leaps and bounds, and obviously it's growing commercially now with WPL coming up, and, girls getting such handsome pays.
I think I would probably say that, we play a lot of white ball cricket, and that's what it is. So it's going to be great to see these guys playing a lot of white ball cricket, adapting to T cricket. People fail to understand that, Test cricket is very different to what a T20 game can get. T20 game is very tough. It's not easy. And if our girls are able to adapt to, a shorter version of the game, I'm sure that, these guys at a very young age to understand that, what the roles are and what they're good at, it's going to help the women cricketers a lot.
You have been an ex-cricketer, and you are a full-fledged coach now. How satisfying is it for you to see women cricket growing from, when you played, and to see the situation, the current scenario now? How satisfying it is?
Honestly, thanks to this young generation, they have made me forgotten what I have gone through, honestly. But I would say that there's so much of difference. I wouldn't say 100%. There's 200% changes in how people are focusing on women's cricket. We had our struggles, but I think this generation has made us realize that it was worth.
Right. On that worthy note, thank you so much, Nausheen, for giving me your time. I know you've been extremely busy. You've just flown down yesterday night. And I think next time when I meet you, I need to get a T-shirt signed and autographed by you, because even I deserve to get an autograph from you, because I've been covering women's cricket and following it so passionately. And it's so wonderful to see you again with the trophy, with the girls doing so well, and, bringing back the trophy, bringing back dreams, and creating dreams for young girls in this country.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for the kind words.
Thank you, Nausheen. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.